Clips, clips.
Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. People say it, so it's true. And if they diss me, I'll fucking sue. Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. People say it, so it's true. And if they diss me, I'll fucking sue. Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do.
Clips, clips.
Alrighty, YouTube's another one of Kips Clips, and as not promised, I'm here. I thought I would just do it a bit hour early before I need to pop out this afternoon, so why not? Interesting stuff is happening. It'll be even more interesting to see what the BBC say to it and whatnot, but we are witnessing the materialisation of the New World Order by the people who mobilised you politically by winding you up, talking about the New World Order. And it's worked very successfully, isn't it? The political landscape over... Oh, let me think. Well, the political landscape over the last 4 years has dramatically shifted. You have citizen on citizen warfare in every country. You could call it civil war, but political civil war, but literally in every country is this New World Order manifests itself. And look who's at the top of it, Donald Trump. Who get Trump elected? The Truther Industrial Complex. And now Donald Trump is going after the old world order in the form of the United Nations, because there are entities in the United Nations which aren't solely there for the benefit of the City of London cabal. What's the best way to call it? The City of London cabal, who have a dog in the fight in South Africa, have a dog in the fight in Israel, have a dog in the fight in America, have a dog in the fight in the UK, and all over the fucking world, where the City of London sent out their pseudo-governmental corporations, gave corporations governmental powers. Corporate fascism to me and you, but let's not talk about that. So welcome one and all. I know it was a wee bit impromptu, but anyway, so Mr. Brown in the town, and Mr. No, I was going to say Anon Mouse in the house, but it's not. It's Anthony. How you doing? And Apple Charlotte. How you doing, Charlotte? In the afternoon, guys and girls. Thanks for joining. So I ain't got much time, so let's get straight to it. If you appreciate it, thumbs it up, share it. Friends, family, foes, help the channel and the show grow. There's a Patreon and PayPal buttons down below. If you get any value from the stuff I do, you've got spare change, not your life savings, consider using the Patreon and PayPal buttons if you appreciate the bullcrap I do. And let's get straight on to the BBCs, because I've got running out of time.
A devastating report says hundreds of elderly patients died at a hospital in Hampshire because they were wrongly prescribed pain-killing drugs. The report says there was an institutionalised practice of shortening lives at the Gosport War Memorial Hospital, and at least 456 patients died as a result.
Some would say this policy has been rolled out on a much larger scale worldwide. One thing you could point to prove the rollout of this policy worldwide is just the amount of dignitas and how easy they've made it for people to kill themselves. And moral compass is straight, boom, I'm anti-prohibition on everything, and that actually means anti-prohibition on killing yourself as well. But at the same token, you don't want it made. Me personally, you don't want it made too easy, because when times get tough, some people might run for that fucking exit and regret it.
These will ask, how could this practice continue and not be stopped? through the various police, regulatory and inquest processes.
I'm looking for justice for all the families, and the justice for all the families will be if there are convictions in the criminal court.
Well, we'll be getting
Will that be
reactions
justice,
to the
really?
inquiry report and also asking whether prosecutions are likely to follow. Also this lunchtime. Another cliffhanger vote in the Commons on Brexit as Tory rebels prepare to defy the Prime Minister once again.
We're separating the kids, they're separating the children. Mr. President, don't you have kids?
US Democrats challenge President Trump over the controversial policy of separating migrant parents from their children. And in the World Cup, Portugal will be...
Ooga booga booga! Ooga booga booga! There's the magic man weaving his wand. Or it's a footballer who's extremely good, hitting a free kick and he's scoring it. You know, how many free kicks does he hit? How many go on the top of the net? I don't think he's that much a successful magician.
Looking to that man Ronaldo.
Thomas
when they
fucking
face Morocco
Sheridan.
later.
Come and speak to me, Thomas Sheridan, when you can comb your beard, you messy looking bastard.
In sport, Andy Murray says he's not sure if he'll play at Wimbledon this year, despite making his comeback from injury with defeat at Queen's yesterday.
Boop, beep, boop, sleep yet? Beep, boop, look into my eyes, beep, boop, not around the eyes, beep, boop, into the sunglasses even, beep, boop. Back in the room, time for some
Good
doom,
afternoon.
doom,
A
doom.
long-awaited report says hundreds of elderly patients at a hospital in Hampshire died because they were prescribed powerful pain-killing drugs. The inquiry into suspicious deaths at the Gosport War Memorial Hospital has found 456 patients died because opioids were administered without medical justification. The report says that between 1989 and the year 2000, there was what it calls an institutionalised practice of shortening lives. Well, campaigners are calling...
Hello? Hello, memory? Yeah, memory. Yeah, I know you've got 1,000,001 Simpsons episodes in there and that's all your fucking memories taken up by, but hello? Hello? Liverpool Pathways? Anybody see the pattern here? No, this is an isolated incident.
for criminal prosecutions, as Catherine Burns reports.
Robert Wilson, Sheila Gregory, Jeffrey Packham, Elsie Devine.
Oh God, I've seen enough
Gillian
dead
said-
bodies.
And other authorities to
Is that at this hospital there was an institutionalised what was happening and continued to take, and now it's up to other authorities.
But hey, who's to blame? Systematic failings in the system here. What we need is a review. Who's going to do this review? Well, the system's going to review the system about how the system failed the system, and then the system's going to review the system, and then the system will do fuck all about the system because the system is the system and will never eat itself.
If no deal is agreed with Brussels, some Tory backbenchers say they will vote against the government.
Vote about what? What are we arguing about here? Semantic bullshit. Decision-making processes, all of them, every single fucking last one of them. You can't operate in a single market when those rules and regulations about being in the single market are dictated to you by an outside entity. Being a sovereign nation is about being able to choose and dictate your own terms and conditions about all the things that fall under your sovereignty, and trade being one of them. The point, the will of the people when it came to Brexit is being ignored. Nobody's discussing it, nobody's talking about it. It's all wrapped up in this geopolitical info war between your extreme left fucking dickheads government and your extreme right Trump New World Order morons, and everybody that's just a fucking normal human being and hates politics, left, right and fucking centre, because they know what a scam it is. Shh, don't say nothing. In fact, just start acting free.
She would address their concerns over a meaningful vote. So what we have today is a trial of strength between Mrs May and to
thought he was doing the robot there.
And by the end of the day, we will know whether those Tory
Is that
rebels
his
really
strings?
have the numbers and the guts to defeat.
Looks like a
Mr. May.
Thunderbird.
Norman, thank you. Norman Smith there, our assistant.
Hey, brains.
President Trump has challenged Congress to draft new immigration laws amid mounting outrage in the United States about policies which have seen migrant children separated from their parents. Mr. Trump has defended the measures, saying they are necessary to stop illegal border crossings. But at a meeting last night with fellow Republicans, he said he would support new compromise legislation. David Willis reports from Washington.
I get an idea. Why don't you lock the kids up with the parents? Problem solved. Get a family jail where everybody can go to fucking jail together as one big happy... Hold on. It's called the world. Families are allowed to stay in your jail cell together.
Amid growing concern from members of his own party, the president came to Capitol Hill to talk about the crisis on the southern border.
The system has been broken for many years. The immigration system, it's been a really bad...
Well, I agree with Trump. The system's been broken for many years. Oh no, then he clarifies the immigration system, not just the whole fucking system of democracy scam, which allows these elite douchebags to lord it over us without us pissants having even a fucking say in the matter. Never mind actually being tuned into what's going on in the world. Nah, Kardashians, EastEnders, brilliant by the way, football, and all the bread and all the circuses in the world. Now, don't pay attention to what's happening and don't even think with your brain about who rules you, who's your owners.
Bad system, probably the worst anywhere in the world. We're going to try and see if we can fix it.
Having met with Republicans, he was heckled by Democrats.
Quit separating the kids. They're separating the children. Mr. President, don't you have kids?
Still, though, no word.
Fucking hell, mate. How stupid are you? Do you not know if Donald... He's asking Donald Trump if you get kids. Mate, I think you should play a wee bit more closer to politics. In fact, even use Wikipedia. That might enlighten you.
Of an imminent solution.
We had a great meeting. These are laws that have been broken for many years, decades, and we had a great meeting. Thank you very much.
Pressure to reform America's immigration system is being driven by images such as these. Children kept in...
Oh, hold on, the BBC, a moment of clarity there. The shit that's going on is being driven by images like these. Let's not investigate the fact that images can be conjured, made up, staged, took out of context, the whole shebang. No, it's being driven by images like these. Thank you, BBC, for admitting that.
Cages after being separated from their parents. Under a new zero-tolerance policy, anyone caught crossing the border illegally is now being arrested. 2,000 sons and daughters have been separated from their parents in little over a month. But far from bowing to public pressure, the president is doubling down. In one tweet on the subject, he warned of illegal immigrants infesting the country, and he continues to blame the Democrats, even though Republicans control both chambers of Congress.
The president alone can fix it with this flick of a pen by signing a presidential order to end the agonizing screams of small children who've been separated from their parents. Mr. President, I'll lend you my pen.
This is disgusting again. This prick, Donald Trump, they're as big as scumbags and child abusers as Donald Trump. They are abusing children for their propaganda information war. Scum fucks.
Any pen. You can fix it yourself.
Mr. Trump insists the solution lies with Congress.
Let the children go!
But as protests sprout up around the country and in the face...
Yeah, just make family prisons. The children can be locked up with the parents. Beautiful.
Of growing international condemnation, one conservative talk show host has likened the situation to a crisis which threatened to derail a previous Republican administration, warning that this could be Trump's Katrina. David Willis, BBC News, Los Angeles.
Write that down, folks. That message in there is going to get propagated left, right and centre. This is Trump's Katrina? I'm sure that Katrina was one of the prostitutes that pissed all over him. So is that what they mean? That this situation might piss all... Oh, Katrina! The weather thing that we now give human names. It was a storm.
Well, meanwhile, there's been widespread criticism of the United States' decision to withdraw from the UN Human Rights Council.
Woo! New World Order, bitches!
A cesspool of political bias. The Foreign Secretary here, Boris Johnson, has described America's decision as regrettable. Let's talk to our diplomatic correspondent, James Robbins. Let's start off with just explaining what the UN Human Rights Council is exactly, James.
Well, it's essentially a policing body designed to call out people who are offending against the defence of fundamental universal human rights.
Why is the United States withdrawn from this? Oh, right, that's because it's biased against Israel, apparently. Because they point at Israel's human rights.
It's a body of 47 countries, more than a quarter of the entire membership of the UN, elected and often rotating between member states. And it meets 3 times a year to operate a series of reviews of countries and to encourage them to improve their human rights where they're found to be lacking. But now the United States has vacated its seat and says it'll leave the Council because it thinks the Council is utterly biased. Now, the Council has been noted
against whom?
For criticising human rights in Syria, in Myanmar, in Burundi, in South Sudan.
Israel.
And I think it has an honourable record in the sense that it's been a great champion
Israel.
of the campaigns against modern slavery.
Is fucking real, you bunch of fucking cretins! These cunts... Ah, man. I mean... It's even you genuinely think for yourself and you kind of know what's going on, man. This is like the most frustrating thing in the world to see these talking heads on TV. Newspeak, blah blah blah, duck speak, saying lots of words, but fuck all of any substance. Nothing that matters. Throw a few wee memes, drag a couple of dead women and children in front of you, and boom shakalaka, you have your news.
But the United States says it's heavily biased against Israel and that it has many members on the body who are themselves human rights abusers. This is what the United States ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, had to say.
For too long, the Human Rights Council has been a protector of human rights abusers and a cesspool of political bias. Regrettably, it is now clear that our call for reform was not heeded. Therefore, as we said we would do a year ago, if we did not see any progress, the United States is officially withdrawing from the UN Human Rights Council.
Oh, they're doing what they said they would do. Oh, so is Trump. Wow, I mean, I don't know how Mike Rivero has had the wool pulled over his eyes. How is this all happening without us even... Well, they've told us they're doing it. Hold on. The writing's on the wall. It's clear as day what's fucking happening.
So, James, that withdrawal by the United
States... The New World Order is here.
What do you think about American foreign policy under Donald Trump?
A lot, I think. I mean, Israel's Prime Minister has called this a courageous decision. Britain's Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, by contrast, called it regrettable. And you can see the lines now where the United States is pulling away from normally accepted international systems.
The World Order.
Collaboration among states. We saw it with the withdrawal from the Iran agreement, with Washington distancing itself from climate change and the accords there. And actually recently at the G7, the repudiation by...
Let's not call it Washington, let's call it the Trump cabal, who the Truther Industrial Complex got elected, and now the Trump cabal is now manifesting a new world order right in front of our eyes. And it's crazy that, isn't it? Because the Truther Industrial Complex tickled our balls and our ovaries to get us on board with them by warning us about a new world order. But they've overwhelmed it. They're the ones that are creating a new world order
Donald Trump
by destroying the old.
I think we're seeing the United States gradually moving away from agreed Western liberal architecture.
James Robbins, thank you very much.
The world order.
More than 700,000 Rohingya refugees have fled Myanmar since a brutal military crackdown there last year.
You got to love the legacy of the British Empire. Everywhere we go, slaughter always follows, nothing to do with us. We are no longer the British Empire, we've got nothing to do with it. They just fucking got some brown faces, put them in charge of the old British Empire and went, hey, you got a brown face in charge now, do what you're fucking told, slaves.
Still searching for a safe place to live.
God, dripping more fucking women and children in front of us.
22 years in Egypt, well, they'll be out after just 2 games. Now, England fans, of course, know that pain all too well after the debacle.
I don't know about yous boys. I believe every word that comes out her pretty mouth.
In Brazil in 2014. Their game against Tunisia on Monday was the most watched television programme of the year so far. More than the royal wedding tuned in. 18.3 million people tuned in to see Harry Kane with that late winner against Tunisia. Now, Delhi picked up a thigh strain in that game. He's had a scan. He'll be...
So no rain here. That band of cloud heading its way south.
Any news, please?
Ronaldo, that hat-trick.
As well. And you can see the of England and then heading out into the north.
Only getting 20 minutes in news
for most areas
this time
by the end
for
of
some
the night.
reason.
Temperatures dropping away. It will be a much cooler night than we've seen for the past.
Fucking Baltic. Fucking Baltic.
Into tomorrow, we've got quite a change in our weather. All the heat and humidity is getting pushed away into the near continent, and instead cooler, fresher
conditions. Now you know why Scotland hates England. They get good weather and we don't.
To the west of us, and we're drawing down more of a north to northwesterly wind. It'll be quite a
Doom shakalaka.
55 miles an hour.
I like that one, mate. That's a good one.
Where the winds will be at their strongest. But a lot of dry
All
weather
right,
really
Mick
on
Vicar,
Thursday.
how you
In the
doing, my
northeast of
man?
Scotland could be a few showers, but otherwise I think it's going to be a dry day. Bit of patchy fair weather cloud bubbling up. But those temperatures will be noticeably lower in the southeast of the UK. It'll feel fresher. Still a decent sort of day with numbers around 16 to 18 degrees or so. Now, let's head into Friday, and a similar sort of picture, really. Probably fewer showers around in the northeast of Scotland, a bit more cloud coming into the northern half of the country, but otherwise a good deal of sunshine around on Friday. Those temperatures similar, maybe a degree or so higher, because the winds won't be as strong, I think, on Friday, and that's because our area of high pressure is drifting closer towards the UK. Now, just around the top of it, though, we could see more cloud on Saturday in the north of Scotland, maybe a few spots of rain, but otherwise the weekend is going to be a good one. Lots of dry weather, some warm sunshine by day, but some rather cool nights ahead. Ben. Darren, many thanks indeed. And a reminder of our main story this lunchtime.
What happened to the news?
An inquiry finds that more than 450...
Oh, God. Liverpool pathways, and now this, and there ain't a greater kind of attitude-changing agenda going on here.
And on BBC One now, we'll...
I mean, it is humane to kill people. We all know that.
One of the BBC's news teams where you are. Have a very good afternoon.
You have a good afternoon too. Well, thanks for joining. That was a quick one this after. I need to bounce out. Charlotte, Mr. Brown in the town. Dino, how you doing, my man? McVicar, Anthony, how yous all doing? In the afternoon. What's that? 345 Hoplite. How you doing, my man? Thanks for joining. Oh my God, what the fuck? McVicar in the afternoon, guys and girls. Thanks for joining, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Make sure you stick a wee thumbs up. Share it with your friends and family and foes. Please help the show and channel grow. I'll be back tomorrow for another World Infowar News at 1. Have a good afternoon, everybody. I am out of here. And Doom Shakalaka, I'm out.
Clips. Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. People say it, so it's true. And if they diss me, I'll fucking sue. Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. Man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. People say it, so it's true. And if they diss me, I'll fucking sue. Man's gotta do